Good afternoon, and welcome to We Believe Digital News Break Show. 1:30 on Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Young. I'll be your host today. My co-host, Mr. Garrett, is off on other business right now. He may be able to join us at the break, but doesn't look likely. So hope everybody's having a good day out there. Our call-in number here is 1-800-492-5186. If you have comments or questions about the show, you want to engage with the show, you can also join us on chat on Facebook, We Believe Podcast. And also, if you have any questions about, moving your product and or service along via this media platform that has a worldwide reach, we'd be happy to talk to you. Just call us at 1-800-492-5186. So we got a great day going on today down in Jackson. All kinds of difficulties, things happening, but we're just suiting up and showing up one day at a time and see what we can do to improve things. And hopefully this podcast can be helpful to you and keeping you up to speed on different things that are going on, not only in the Jackson-Hines area, but across the state of Mississippi and the nation, and even a little bit from the global perspective. Our goal, as always, is to bring you the news, bring you relevant topics, and maybe add a little bit of context and perspective to those topics that you might not ordinarily get on the broadcast stations that you may watch. So today we'll start out from the broad lens. Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, now 7 months in process. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and interesting things going on right now. Just over the weekend, Russia claimed to have seized 4 different regions in the eastern Ukraine, and claimed them. And apparently there were some elections that most people are calling sham elections that are going on. And the 4 regions are the Donetsk region, the Kherson region, the Luhansk region, and boy, I'm going to struggle with this last one, Zaporizhia region. 4 regions, they're all side by side on the eastern side of Ukraine, and Russia is claiming to have seized them, and they are not now part of Russia, according to Putin, the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. But interestingly enough, Ukraine is pushing back fiercely in those regions. And as of the last news reports I listened to, Russia is been in a retreat over the last couple of days. So they indicate that they've seized those regions, but now they're in retreat. So we'll have to keep an eye on how that's gonna work out. Sometimes, if you're anything like me, you pay attention to that kind of stuff here and there, but maybe more focused on the local things going on. But anyway, it is a war that's going on, and people are dying every day, and they found just torture chambers over there that the Russian soldiers had been using. It's just an ugly situation, and of course it's totally against the United Nations Charter, and some people have called for Russia to be removed from that 5-member panel that weighs in on these types of decisions. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to the national side of things, there's several items that will be important. Important news for you. Just a reminder that there's a deadline coming up at the end of this month for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, PSLF program. And say you're a public school teacher, a frontline public worker, or a veteran, you could be eligible for this program of educational loan forgiveness. So if by any chance that's you or anybody you know, please pass the word to them, because the deadline is coming up at the end of this month. So here we are on the 4th, and the deadline is the 31st. So just to give you a heads up about that. Also on the national front, obviously last week we were talking several times about the hurricanes. Not only did you have Hurricane Fiona that hit Puerto Rico, but devastating in Puerto Rico, but also Hurricane Ian that came at us from the backside from the Gulf of Mexico, hooked around and came up through Fort Myers, Florida. The hurricane itself has passed us now, but the physical damage is just been amazing. And also flooding. There's still communities in Florida that are still flooded days and days and days after the hurricane has passed through. People are now starting to raise issues about mental health, and the trauma that's involved. There was some sort of study done in 2020 looking back on mental health issues that follow significant storms like Ian was. And, the news is not good. This affects a lot of people's mental health in very pronounced ways. In fact, there's always an uptick. One part of the report mentioned a 23% uptick in suicides after people that are strongly impacted by the hurricane and what the havoc that wreaked in their lives. So just keeping those people in our prayers. They're still struggling with power. And remember, this Ian went through Cuba before it came to us. All kinds of issues there. But however, the power is just about completely restored in Cuba now. And 2 weeks after Fiona hit Puerto Rico, still 100,000 people without power in Puerto Rico. And also, Ian kept going and made it to the United States and through Florida. Over 400,000 people still without power in Sarasota, Lee County, Collier County, Charlotte, and Manatee. And that was based on a report I looked at earlier from the Reuters news service. Generally really, really accurate folks. So really, and the death toll now in Florida is at just about 100. There's still rescue teams out there searching for survivors. What are we now? 4 or 5 days post, and they're 5 days, and they're out there searching. Lots of people are talking about damage estimates for Hurricane Ian, and also from Fiona in Puerto Rico. I know President Biden went to Puerto Rico yesterday, and promised some $60 million to help with specific infrastructure-related issues that they have. I think it's related to the power grid in Puerto Rico, and lots of people are weighing in about the damage estimates in southwestern Florida. One research institute estimates damages will probably exceed $75 billion from this natural natural disaster, this Hurricane Ian. So certainly going to rank up there among the costliest, maybe not in lives lost, because certainly Hurricane Maria, when was that? 2017, and then Katrina, apparently much heavier loss of life. But in terms of actual the physical damages and to rebuild and all that, this Hurricane Ian is going to rank up there among the highest, costliest hurricanes that the U.S. has ever seen before. So we'll keep an eye on that and try to keep you updated on that. When we move our way down to the Mississippi news, there's just a lot of it. You never know quite where to start. But I will say this, today is the 4th of October, and people have until the 10th of October. So in order to register to vote. So if you haven't registered to vote yet, now is the time to really jump on that. So Monday is the deadline. So whether you go in person to the registrar's office, or whether you do it by mail, either close a business at the to register in person on Monday to vote at in next month's election, or if you do it by mail, it has to be postmarked by the 10th, by Monday the 10th, in order to vote in next month's election. So please jump on that. Really, really important. Seems like there's a lot of people out there trying to take our voice away, and so it's really important that we reinforce the voice that we do have and push back on that and not let people try to take our voice away. One person, one vote, and it really needs to stay. A reminder for you going on in Mississippi. Another thing, the TANF scandal. The investigation obviously is growing broader and broader, and you see all the time, finally the national news has picked up, and they're focusing in on Brett Favre, the Hall of Fame quarterback that was in on the steal. This money is specifically designated by the federal government. It's given to all states, but in Mississippi, due to being the poorest state in the country, we have an inordinate share of TANF funding that's funneled here, and that's courtesy of taxpayers around the country, and yet some people in Mississippi, people that are not honorable people that are crooked as all get out, decided that since the federal government really doesn't keep close tabs on exactly how the states spend that money, well, they decided they could just kind of use that money as a slush fund, and just horrible. And the money earmarked for the neediest folks in Mississippi, and yet people that are not needy at all, like a millionaire like Brett Favre and the former governor Phil Bryant, the current governor Tate Reeves is in on it. It's just all over the place. These nonprofits set up to do one thing, but then really they end up siphoning these dollars. And at the same time, these people were stealing, some estimates 70, 74, some estimates in the $90 million. At the same time, these people were stealing the money for the neediest people. Only 1 point something, let's just say 1.4% or 1.7% of the people that applied for these monies were approved. So Mississippi has the highest turn down rate of anywhere in the country for people applying for TANF funds. And I guess you got to do that. You got to turn people down, so that you can steal the money, and which they thought, of course, they'd be doing behind people's backs, but it just didn't turn out that way. Favre was in it for $5 million for a volleyball stadium at his alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi. The Institutions of Higher Learning Board was in on the approval of that. They came up with some lease arrangement to try to make that more look better than it was, apparently. But it's all coming out now, and they're not stopping now. So I notice we're up against a break here, so let's skip out for a couple of commercials and try to pay the bills a little bit around here, and then we'll be right back with you.
Let's read and learn together. Meet Mason. Written by Sherry Tate. Illustrated by David. Mason is a young, inspired learner. Walk with him as he uses his 5 senses to explore the world around. Global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our mini global live stream TV broadcast and over the radio. For more info, visit webelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Socrates Garrett, E22.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. Socrates Garrett ENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.Dot grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using Socrates Garrett ENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Welcome back to We Believe Digital News Break. Pardon me. We're really glad you're here. We've just been discussing the TANF scandal in Mississippi. All kinds of our elected officials and those they appoint stealing 70, 80, 90 plus $1 million of money from the federal government that came directly to Mississippi to help the poorest people in our state to get by. And you're talking about a crazy amounts like, $250 a month for a family of 3. I mean, you're talking about the kind of money that can only contribute to basic survival for people. How are you even going to feed a family of 3 for $250 a month? So it's meant to help people. And the very people that swear an oath to serve us, that stand up and raise their hand and sometimes whip out a Bible, and good Christian folks, just absolute thieves, and just taking from the absolute least of these. I don't know what Christian churches they go to. I don't know what Bible they read, but just a horrendous behavior by these people. And lots of these critters have and are in jail as we speak, and lots of them are turning the tables and singing like the proverbial canary, to just thinking about the timer here, singing like a canary to make it really clear how they came into that money and how they can other people can learn about the jail and the fines and all that restitution and all that kind of good stuff that's gonna come along to it. Very, very sad. The current governor, I remember looking at his speech, swearing on his inauguration to serve all the people of Mississippi, but he does not do that. Mississippi is a state at nearly 40% non-white population, and yet he refuses to acknowledge Black History Month. How can you serve the state of Mississippi as its governor and not even acknowledge Black History Month? How do you do that? And while you're not acknowledging Black History Month, you do make a point every year to acknowledge something called Confederate Memorial Day. And the state workers get a day off from work for Confederates, but you're not going to acknowledge the Black citizenry in this state. It's bizarre behavior. But he got in there on some of that money for, we said earlier, Favre got $5 million. He also went after another $1.1 million for something else. And the current governor, Tate Reeves, apparently is tied in with this guy named Lacoste, and for these fitness centers and these fitness boot camps for legislative type people. Just as sad as the day is long, that they thought that nobody was looking and we can just dip in that pot and just turn it into a slush fund, use it for what we want. It's just a very sad commentary. And people, and sometimes you'll hear people in Mississippi say, the whole world thinks that we're backwards. Well, here's your sign. Here's your sign. Some more news in Mississippi, aside from the TANF scandal, and actually a shout out to Anna Wolf, a magnificent young investigative reporter over at Mississippi Today. I just look forward to her every report. She really does a wonderful, wonderful job. Over last weekend, there was a shooting in Marks, Mississippi, and 5 people were shot following a homecoming celebration last Saturday. And the mayor of Marks, his daughter, I think a daughter in her 30s, and his niece were among those that are shot. One person has been charged. So really sad to see, a rural area like that, and somebody bringing gunfire into a homecoming celebration, makes you wonder what that is all about. But Marks is also the location, the reason I think of Marks, the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, located in, to be built, earmarked to be built in Marks, Mississippi. So that's really going to put Marks, Mississippi on the map. And I've got a photograph that I keep on my desk and have been keeping it on my desk probably for, a good 10 or 12 years now, of a man that was photographed in front of an old, overgrown filling station in Marks, Mississippi. And it's just a reminder to me every day, where I'm focusing my energy, what I'm focusing on, because it's just a horrible, horrible picture of this old, overgrown filling station. And somehow or another, this older black gentleman sitting on a chair out in front almost looks like he was posed for the photograph, but it's very touching to me. It's very meaningful to me. I keep it on my desk. Another reference to Marks, Mississippi. Moving on down to Hinds County. The Board of Supervisors has approved space. Now they have appointed, there's been 4 special judges appointed very recently to help knock down the backlog of cases in Hinds County. And so they had to have space for these judges to do their judge thing, So one of the courtrooms in the Hinds County Courthouse, Courtroom 5, has been designated. 2 courtrooms in the Hinds County Chancery Court building, Courtrooms 1 and 5, and then a conference room over in the Woolfork building will be converted into a pseudo courtroom so that newly appointed special judge can do whatever, their judgely, is that a word? I'm not sure. They do their judging over there and move these cases forward. So that's something going on in Hinds County. Another thing, public works workers in Hinds County. Boy, this one really makes you stop and pause. Well, I guess we've said it before. So many things here do make you stop and pause. But if you can believe this, the public works staffers haven't had a raise in Hinds County in some time. I don't have the actual number of years it's been, but it's obvious that it's been some time, and they've been hammering for some type of a raise. I guess people realize that there's all kinds of extra monies in the state now, and so they would like to get a pay raise. But the Board of Supervisors recently, last Thursday maybe, voted to they rejected that a pay raise for the Hinds County Public Works staffers. But at the same meeting, they voted themselves, the 5 of them, they voted themselves a $6,000 annual pay raise. Interesting. So I have no idea how much money they make. I don't know what that brings their salary. I think it brings it up to about the $50,000 range, but I can't say that for sure. I saw some reference to that when I was researching it, but couldn't find anything definitive. And along that same lines, with rates of pay, you'll remember us telling you about this Capital Complex Improvement District in Jackson. 8.7 square miles. So that still leaves over 100 square miles for the remainder, if you will, of Jackson. And they created themselves their own little police force, if you can imagine. Now, the shootings all over Jackson, and predominantly the heaviest shootings are in West Jackson and South Jackson, but the Capital Complex Improvement District got nothing to do with that. They're more like, Midtown, downtown through Midtown to Meadowbrook on the north, to LaFleur's Bluff on the east, out to Bailey on the west, and down south as far as the downtown, and to include Jackson State. And you'll never believe this, so you got to take my word for this now. So now that they're standing up this Capital Complex Improvement District police force, well, they've been authorized to have so many police officers, and lo and behold, guess where they're going to come from? So Tyree Jones, the Hinds County Sheriff, complaining just recently, had 3 people resign for lack of pay, low pay, they said. And sure enough, they turn up over at the Capital Complex Improvement District Police Department, what they call the Capitol Police, where they're going to get to earn $12,500 more than they were making as a Hinds County Sheriff. From $29,000, that's what the deputies get paid. $29,000 to $42,500 just by driving down the street a mile or two. Amazing. So as you can see, that type of thing is going to saturate and fortify the areas that certain people want more law enforcement coverage in. But is it really going to influence the overall crime levels in Jackson? And is it going to influence the crime levels in South Jackson and West Jackson, where the majority of the shootings occur? So just, again, people making judgment calls here and making decisions that affect other people's lives. And it always seems like it ends up hurting South Jackson and West Jackson more than it hurts other areas of the city. Kind of a sad commentary on that. Wish we had some better news on that. Sheriff Jones is obviously going to petition to increase the rate of pay. He said it's a laughable rate of pay for his deputies, and he's petitioning to get that rate of pay increased. So hopefully that can be coming in the coming months. Hopefully we can see that. really just have one more story for you. And I've got to learn more about it as time goes on, but it has to do with this One Lake project. So essentially widening the Pearl River as it passes by Jackson and implementing a flood control plan as they're doing that. So this came up it's been coming up for years and continues to get shot down, but now it was just announced that the Corps of Engineers was awarded $221 million for the Pearl River Flood Control Project. So the project still needs to be approved, but money is being allotted to look into this and study this, and apparently to finalize a plan, what the plan would look like to do this. And if successful, could this help us in the future? That obviously that's what people are saying, but many of the drivers of this project are looking at it from an economic lens, and many people fear that there'll be all kinds of economic expansion in Rankin County on one side of the Pearl River, but not nearly so much economic expansion on the Hinds County side of the Pearl River where Jackson is. So we'll have to see how that turns out, and I'm going to look forward to learning more about that so I can share that with you from a more knowledgeable standpoint. So One Lake project back on the boards, looks like. So we thank you for joining us today, right at about the 32-minute mark, and wish you well throughout this Tuesday afternoon. We'll be on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. and then Friday at 2 p.m. Hope you can join us then, and wish you a good afternoon and stay safe out there.